Mr. Julio Sánchez Mariñez, Rector of the Instituto Tecnológico de Santo Domingo, INTEC, on higher education in the Dominican Republic.
Muy buenas tardes.
Good afternoon, everyone. And I hope that you had a good lunch. First of all, I need to thank the Directorate of COES and particularly Jose Alejandro Ibar, his work of bringing you all here with this conference. So something it reminded me, if you want me to talk for an hour, I'll prepare it in one afternoon. But if you want me to talk for 2 minutes, give me 2 weeks to prepare it. But I want to talk to you about INTEC, the Technological Institute, in the context of higher education in the Dominican Republic. I must have had someone of protocol by my side. Is it working? There's a small delay here. Yep, it's a small delay. It's a big delay here. INTEC was founded 50 years ago. We celebrated the 50th anniversary of INTEC last year, and it was founded as an institution that pretended to be the Technological Institute of the Dominican Republic. And that is why it was a name that confused people in the country. It's some people would say is the Technological Institute, not a university, but the founders followed a model of the Technological Institute or a technological university. So in this celebration of the 50 years, as you can see here, we took as a slogan, a legacy that inspires us and moves us towards the future. And in that sense, I will not mention every one of the items that you can see here because we don't have enough time. But I'll mention 3 that are very important. INTEC was founded as a private institution, a nonprofit institution, but I prefer to call it public non-state. It is not accepted universally. We produce public and semi-public products. Graduates, there are no owners. No directive members can be there for more than 9 years, neither as a rector, director. In order for us to be administrators on behalf of the society of the institutions, we can stay there. The Altagracia Lopez retired with 40 years in the institution as a professor, as an investigator, but not as an officer. And second, we decided to be innovative and complementary for the higher education system, not to repeat what other institutions do to the extent that is possible. And in this sense, these are the 4 strategic proposals of the new institutional strategy that we carried out with the 50 years. First of all, being leaders in education, highlighting the STEM as base of all of the diplomas. It doesn't matter the school. In second place, a curriculum development that is not only updated but also anticipating the world. The second one, becoming the preference partner of the private and government sector in development projects. The third one, a demanding but open activity. And in fourth place, a transparent and properly managed institution that deserves the investment of many to make it possible. So let's look at the higher education system in the Dominican Republic. We can summarize it in the following 2 slides. First of all, we have grown in the number of institutions. 1 in 1961, over 50 currently. The registration, same thing. After the fall of dictator Trujillo in 1961, we had 3,000 to 3,500 students, the only state university. Today, pre-pandemic, we do not have clear statistic. Post-pandemic, but we are around 500,000 students. In a country based on the last census of 10.5 million people, considering that the census was accurate, which is a considerable number. Now, what is the number what is the place of InTech in that system. If you look at this graphic, 70% of the people enrolled in the system are in those programs in those areas that I'm mentioning there. The three small bars are precisely engineering and sciences. It is completely close to one side. If we compare it to the InTech, unfortunately, I was not that good doing these bars. The bars of InTech are the opposite of the system. Engineering and sciences are our greatest number, then health sciences, then economy and business, and then social sciences and humanities. So in that way, that when the rector cross-referenced the data of graduates of engineering and InTech and the registry of the Dominican Guild of Engineers and Architects, over 12,000 graduates of engineering and InTech represent 28% of the members of that guild. So when we remove the surveyors and architects professionals that are not engineers, that comparison grows to 39%. And if we do a deeper, more in detail exercise and we remove engineering, not because it's engineering, but because it is the most common diploma between all of the university, different than other careers offered only by InTech. So the proportion grows to 79%. And that allows me to see, without being modest, that without InTech, the country will be without engineers. That is our community, currently 37,000 graduates, with the important data that 98% of them get a job before 1 year of graduating, and 70% of them do it in their area of work. There are other pieces of information in there, like the 14 patents that we have, being leaders in the country, pretty far from some standards, but growing step by step. In the country, it is difficult for me to say it, but InTech has only one campus. But in that campus, we have students from all of the provinces of the country, because the white color in there is not a province. It is the Enriquillo Lake. Of course, the colors, the darker ones, the largest amount of people, but we feel really satisfied in InTech that we attract talents from everywhere in the country. 30% of our graduates come from provinces, of our students, I'm sorry, not graduates. So look into the research in InTech. That is the Achilles heels of our universities, even though we have overcome that a lot. If we measure it by Scopus publications, look at how much we have grown in relatively consistent way. I have this year, 30 registered. So that's why I did not publish it here, but we had to wait for the second semester to be completed to see how many are we going to have if we get close to the number of 50 that we normally have. Now, more important is being the technological institute is that we lead not only in any kind of investigation or research, but research inspired in the use of applied investigation. We believe that in the country, if research can still be called a weakness, greater weakness in applied research. There's a lot. The case of sargassum that affects several of the countries in the whole Great Caribbean tells us, we can see here that there are around 14 projects that InTech is developing only focus on sargassum. And we're bringing that as an example of the orientation of InTech that also sets it apart in higher education in terms of applied research, applied academic area. And there we collect the whole path of the cruel phenomenon for many of our countries, which is the sargassum, from understanding it, monitoring and prediction, barriers and recollection, and up until the usage of products based on sargassum. Now, in terms of alliances and international programs, InTech is open. And throughout this 2 days, we've received the visit of several of you to the campus to discuss different relations. We've opened open ourselves to these universities. With these 5, we have agreements, among other things, of articulated programs. INTEC students stay 2 years in INTEC, and then after that time, without requesting admission, they spend 2 years in those universities. An example, we don't have aerospace engineering or nuclear or automotive engineering or chemical engineering. We do not facilitate that. So even though we open the doors in careers that we have, mechanic or industrial, in those other ones, we open doors for our students in order for them, after 2 years in INTEC and 2 years in these universities, could complete that diploma in those areas that the country does not have. Now, these two, one, Illinois and Texas A&M, we've achieved a different kind of agreement. That is the 2+3, in a way that the student completes his 2 first years in INTEC, and the following 3 years, they do it in an accelerated program of a bachelor or master. With the last 2, with the Politécnica de Puerto Rico and the Politécnica de Valencia, we have the dual diploma agreement with Puerto Rico in management engineering and with Valencia in projects and logistics and supply chain. And this is also the area where INTEC is trying to open doors, because we feel that where we've reached in the QS ranking, that we feel very proud of representing the country in the first place, is being part of the higher education system. And in the next few years, we'll have along with us 3, 4, 5. We feel pretty honored that the Madre Maestra is accompanying us. We feel more honored yet that they're accompanying us a step behind. But what we would like to do is open doors by showing this. And what I want to just to complete my presentation, I know you guys are tired, but to tell you that we're celebrating the first year after the first 50 years, saying that it's the first year of the next 50. That, of course, I'm not going to be able to see, at least not from this world, but I do believe as a rector to promote that fast forward that represents an intact, that what we try is to create a future today and fast forward the Dominican generations of what the country needs, supporting ourselves in the first 50 years, but looking ahead at the next 50. If I was too fast or too slow, I really appreciate that you have not yawned, so thank you very much.